Welcome to the Truth About Social Ads podcast, where we talk about everything related to social media ads and give you the truth about what's happening in the world of ads.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of The Truth About Social Ads. Very excited about this episode today. It's kind of part two of the episode that we recorded with Paul from the Wall Printer. We actually have Ashlee, who's the Chief Marketing Officer and Navy veteran after 16 years of experience in digital marketing, leading multinational campaigns that help brands cut through the noise and drive real results on a global scale. With a career spanning nearly 2 decades, Ashlee has a proven track record of executing high-impact marketing initiatives across borders and building teams that deliver. When she's not shaping brand narratives, she's passionate about leadership, service, and empowering the next generation of marketers. Ashlee, thank you so much for being on today. I really appreciate it.
Of course, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so you are the Chief Marketing Officer for the Wall Printer.
I
Right.
am.
And we had an episode with Paul. It was super cool to talk to him. And the reason why we're doing kind of part two of this is because you, obviously from your title, you're the marketing gal at at the Wall Printer. So I just kind of wanted to dive into, a bit about the Wall Printer, what you guys are doing on social media, since that's what the podcast is about. How it's been, is it working? Is it not working? Are you frustrated? Or are things good? And then also get into your other side of your story, which is you became an entrepreneur with the Wall Printer. You bought a printer and you have a business of your own. So I think it'd be super awesome to dive into that. How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds great. So,
Awesome.
to touch on your first
Yeah.
subject, so we are on social media. We have when I first started with the Wall Printer about 3 years ago, we had a few thousand followers, and across all the platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and since then we've grown our platforms to over 300,000 following, and
Sweet.
in doing so, it's really like I I can't take all the credit because the printer really is such a cool technology. People are just automatically drawn to it. So,
Yeah.
we go viral every month or so, and it's wild because it's just the same stuff over and over again, but people are just so enamored by it. So it's
Yeah.
really exciting to see how people are responding to just the different technologies that we bring to the table. Like, we've got a floor printer. We just launched our fifth iteration of our legacy printer, and so it's just kind of cool seeing the evolution of not only our social media with just the type of people that are engaging and who we really are speaking to, but also the technology itself and what
hmm
it's bringing to the community.
Yeah, that's super cool. I mean, and it's funny because I think you're right. If I saw one of the wall printers out actually printing something on a wall somewhere, I'd be like, okay, what the heck is this thing? Like, I got to stop and check it out. That doesn't mean the people that are inquiring are the perfect fit for what you guys are offering. But Paul talked about how your main focus at the wall printer is bringing in other people who are interested in starting a business with the wall printer, right? And your machines obviously aren't 100 $200. I mean, we're talking about 30,000 and up, right? Talk about
40.
that a little bit. 40K and up. Okay, there we go. Yeah,
Yeah.
10,000 more. That's a lot. It's but talk about, let's I would say, is social media, I mean, is it working super well? Because a lot of people will say, and I actually don't say this, but a lot of people will say you can't sell a high priced item directly from a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad or LinkedIn or wherever, right? Wherever you're running ads. Um, I think you're kind of disproving that a little bit. Of course, people need more information. You're not just going to show them an ad, and they're not going to go in and add a $40,000 printer to cart and be like, "Yep, I'm good." But tell us about your process and what it's been like advertising, because you guys are running ads, right? Like Paul did share that, a bunch of leads come in, but not every person is qualified. So maybe share that journey and what you guys are doing there to actually get to someone to the end point of purchasing, I guess.
So I'm going to start with the first part of what you were saying is people say that, you can't sell a high priced item through social media. I
Yeah,
agree and I disagree. So
correct.
it's really on how you qualify what a sale is. If you have someone that's been retargeted, that's gone to your website or has Googled just the technology in general, they're going to have 7 to 12 touch points before they make any kind of purchase
Yep,
anyway, which is
yep.
actually pretty average for the industry of e-commerce anyway, unless, you already know what you're going to buy and then it's a one-stop done and
Yep.
one-stop shop done. But usually what we do specifically for social media, and it depends on the platform really, because
Yeah.
not all social media is equal, right? So LinkedIn
No.
is a very different audience than TikTok would
Yep.
be.
Yep.
And not every audience is going to be a buying audience. Sometimes it's
Yep.
just awareness. And by that
Yeah.
awareness, you get the volume. So then the volume and inadvertently you'll get people that are interested in it as a business. So we kind of leverage it mixing sponsored and organic media where we've already got the leverage of the engagement and the followers and things like that, but
Mhm.
we did a deep dive in, okay, who's actually buying these printers and why are they buying them, right?
Yep. Yep.
Because you can segment your audience in 100 different ways, but if you're segmenting the wrong audience, the wrong buyer, then or people who are just there to kick tires,
Yep.
it's not going to be effective. So
Yeah.
when we're putting together our content or our campaigns, it's always with the intention of, I'm designing this specific campaign right for my exact perfect customer, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
if my perfect customer is a 40 something year old male who is in the end of a first career and is looking to shake things up a little bit, not
Yep.
necessarily midlife crisis, but just tired of the same monotony of their job
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
want something that they own or something that they can control and really do their own thing with, right? So one of the quotes that we have here in our office is, you'll never uh,
I
those who
ha
always
I have it right here. Those who
oh,
never take risks will always work for someone who has. Yeah, I have your website
yes.
here. But yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
and that's so true because that's who our audience is, or that's who our buyers are. It's people who see this because it's a new technology. It's only been in the United States about 6 years. When we brought it over, that was after about 15 years of R&D, with our factory and just different industries to figure out not only what is the most efficient kind of machine that we've got, but also what's the best option to make this in a commercial capacity. So it's a very new technology, and I always tell all of our customers, this isn't Field of Dreams. It's not like if you build it, they'll come. You have to
Right.
tell them to come. So
Yes.
just
Yes.
because you buy a wall printer with the intention of you know creating this service-based business doesn't mean that you're going to get customers right away. So part of this whole entity is educating the public on it, right? Educating that it's even a thing, and then that it's a thing that they need. So in our marketing efforts through our social media, we use TikTok primarily for entertainment. We
Yeah. Yeah.
educate,
Yeah.
entertain, kind of. It's that bookend almost marketing where they've already seen us on LinkedIn or through our
Mhm.
website or Google Ads, and now we're just filling in those gaps through their entertaining social media. So
Yeah.
Facebook and Instagram are kind of similar. We don't see a lot of traction as far as people who are with the intent of buying there, but more about entertaining, and they like our content, so they engage, things like that. But LinkedIn and Google is really where our sweet spot is because it's that career-minded person, that someone who is, if they've got a LinkedIn account, it's probably one that they've been nurturing where, how they found their current position or looking for something new. So when they see our ads on there, then they do that deep dive and, that's where the retargeting and things like that come in, but it's really layered. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily a social media process that we go through for our marketing, but it's a overall process. It's
Yeah.
a digital
Exactly.
presence. So we touch
Yep.
on a little bit of everything. And again, that audience that we fine tune our sponsored media to is really that person who we've seen is buying. And it does take a little bit of time.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not an overnight process by any means, unless, I mean, we have had someone come in here with $40,000 cash and say,
That's
"Hey, I want a
awesome.
printer." It
That's
was
sick.
wild, absolutely
Yeah.
wild. But So yeah, I think I answered your question.
Yeah, but that person that came in, I bet you anything, like, started out on social media and probably saw some stuff, right?
Yeah,
And then was like, "Oh, man, this
absolutely.
is super cool." Yeah, and there's a customer journey, and I always say the more expensive the product, the longer the sales process is,
Mhm.
obviously, and you
Yeah.
guys have an expensive product, so, you know, and the thing I find amazing is just the fact that, like, there's so many crazy businesses that not only advertise on social media, but, like, in general, right? Like, before I even talked to you guys, I never would have thought the wall printer was, like, a really cool thing, you know? Like, it's so
Yeah.
weird that we're sitting here on a podcast chatting about the wall printer and the need of, like, basically a laser printer that, like, in my background right here, like one of those, but you can do that on a wall, right? Like, or a floor, or, or something. Or you could even make a
Yeah.
sign for a business that, you know, so it's super crazy, So I appreciate that context. And it's just so cool that you served in the military. That's awesome. And then you were able to, like, how did you find the wall printer? And you're still
So
active. You're still active, right?
sorry. I was just gonna say I was a helicopter mechanic and
That's
deployed almost the whole
awesome.
time, so it
That's
wasn't
sweet.
something that was long-term sustainable, so completely different career field, but,
Yeah.
yeah, so marketing,
Well,
16 years.
yeah, well, kind of like mine. I mean, I was a policeman in Los Angeles for 14 years, and then I was like, man, but yeah, run down and tired, working all the really bad neighborhoods in LA, and
Yeah,
yeah, I was just like, I need something else, And
yeah,
marketing, like you, I was very attracted to it. Stumbled across it, and dove in with 2 feet, and here I am, years later. So, awesome. So obviously, you have a ton of experience in the marketing world. How did you come across the wall printer? Like, did you see some marketing or something, or did you like how did you find out about the wall printer, and then obviously, start working there and then start your own business from there? How did that all come about?
So actually, I was a fractional CMO for a franchise, and it was not something I saw long term. So I had my CV out there looking for something else that was local, a mixture of like. Ideally, it was mostly in person, just because with marketing, there's a lot of creative, and just having that interaction with people is really important. Um, and I interviewed for this position, and it wasn't something I had ever heard of or even
Yeah,
really
yeah,
understood. And
right,
so it was, but he told me, they were really new. They were only, I think, a year, maybe 2 years in. And the person that was handling their marketing at the time was, not really a professional marketer. They were more of
right.
like a social media influencer, and he had gotten a really
Got it.
great start and just getting the message out there, but it wasn't done with a true marketing strategy. So that's what he was looking for, is someone to build up the entire department and create something from basically nothing. So that's what I thought was really exciting. I mean, the technology was cool, but I was more
Yeah,
like, oh, let's go. I can use
right.
this cool technology and then use the skill set that I've already got, you know. So that's what we did. I started out hard and heavy, and I kind of flipped everything upside down. I redid all of
It's
our
awesome.
branding and our customer facing assets and our internal assets, and then I reskinned our website and reworked all
Sweet.
of our SEO and our Google ads and our social media ads. And yeah, it kept climbing and climbing and climbing. So after about 2 years, Paul had been talking about wanting to start a local service based business so we could see what our owners were actually experiencing, and,
Hmm.
either successes or failures, and where we could really help improve that in our
Hmm.
process. We're not a
Hmm.
franchise, but we do want to give our customers the best leg to start on, right? So if
Right.
if we can create something and it's simple enough for us to just say, here, you guys can use it or not, and so that was
Hmm.
kind of the mindset we had. And like I said, my husband is retired Air Force, so he was kind of not really into the industry he was in. So he had only been retired for a couple years and working in safety management. And so, Paul approached him and I, and we were excited about it. And he's a very he's a very list oriented, like, if you tell him to do something, he does it
Right.
exactly
He'll
how you
do
told
it.
him to do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So I attribute that to some of our success, a lot of our success actually, because I mean, our printer has been really it's not really had any issues, knock on wood, but I attribute that to him following our support department's instruction. And, you know, if he's
Yeah.
got any issues, they're there to help him with it. But so far it's really been stuff that it's a user error or something like that that he's worked through. But
Right.
as far as like the tech, that was my biggest concern because I mean it's a printer, you know, the stigma that
Right.
comes with
You're like, holy
printers.
crap. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but so far it's been wonderful. And so anyway, so we decided to start that hard and heavy, and he quit his job, and we went in this, you know, guns blazing. I with the
That's
understanding
awesome.
I was still going to stay at the CMO at the wall printer, but
Right.
I would do our marketing and our, you know, back end kind of efforts there, and he would handle all of the all of the print and customer facing stuff. So that's what we've been doing. And you know, our very first day in business, we actually went to a trade show, and
Mhm.
it was a barter scenario. So we approached the company that was hosting the show, and it was a business expo. And we were like, "Hey, if we give you a wall print, can we have a booth?" And they're like, "Yeah, let's go." So
Cool.
we did that, and that's how we kicked off, and it's been really nonstop since. And we've we do offer like marketing services through TWP for our customers.
Yeah.
And it was nice because I had been planning this and building it out for the past year and a half before it launched. And I had now a business that I could test it on and prove its
Cool.
efficacy. So
Yeah.
in doing that, you know, it was like, okay, these are ready to go, or here's where I need to tweak. And so it's, you know, it's a great resource for us, you know, kind of scratching our own back is
Yeah.
we can test these theories and really see the inner workings of a wall printing business from the business owner side and apply that to our new customers and how we can help them without breaching that whole like we're not a franchise, you know. So
Right. Yeah, that's super cool. So for your own business, like you and your husband, um, are you getting like business from social media as well? Like people are finding you and reaching out, "Hey, I need to, I need a wall print, I need this." Like what kind of businesses are you servicing?
So that was it's kind of one of the things that I usually tell our new customers is it's ever evolving. Like we started out like we're going to print on anything anywhere, you know, give us a job, we'll
Yeah.
take it. Well,
Yeah.
after our first few jobs, we're like, I don't know that we want to do residential. So we have been
Right.
really focusing more on commercial businesses and you know, honestly, we've had a couple of really big bids. We actually are about to have another big job that we're hoping to get. And it's all basically, like, either businesses that have already been established for a while or ones that are building a new building and they want something cool in there,
Sure.
so those are really our target. And honestly, I'm not advertising anywhere outside of Facebook or Meta, so Instagram and Facebook. And then we post, you know, content about every other day. But I'm not advertising on Google. I'm not doing anything anywhere else. And we've got enough leads coming in
That's
from
awesome.
those ads that are more than sustaining for our
That's
business.
awesome. Yeah, and it's cool because you obviously already knew the wall printer side of things, being the CMO of the company and all that. And then when you started your business, like you said, you were able to test it, but you kind of, you know, you kind of knew what worked anyways. And to apply that to your own business, that's pretty cool. And so I assume you guys are revenue wise for your husband's for you and your husband's business, things are going good, like you're not worried about, freaking out about customers or anything, like that's all, it's all good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We ironically, so I centralize our marketing effort, our paid marketing efforts in New Hanover County. So that's basically our immediate demographic, right? But we've
Yeah.
been getting jobs in Fayetteville and Myrtle Beach and, you know, Carteret
Wow.
County and all of these Jacksonville, like all of these surrounding areas. So people that are like passing through Wilmington or that are in the general area get tagged and then they get
Yeah.
retargeted
Yeah.
and then it just
Hmm.
spreads outward. So I'm only paying
Awesome.
for this little piece, but I'm getting everything else. So
Sweet. Yeah.
it's just a matter of, you know, doing knowing how to kind of manipulate the system,
Yeah,
for lack of
yeah,
better
for sure.
words.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I don't know
awesome.
if
Yeah,
that's
and and you're not a customer of ours. Like, we're not running your ads, obviously. And so, but I appreciate you coming on, sharing your experience because it's helpful. I mean, there isn't one way to run an ad in Meta, as you know, or Google or wherever. Just because I do it a certain way, doesn't mean you can do it completely different. It's not going to be successful, right? And of course, you have a ton of experience. I mean, you have 16 years of marketing experience that you can apply to that, which is pretty awesome. And so, talk a little bit about like when you and your husband get a job, right? Well, actually, let me go back. So you said you were already working for the wall printer, things were going good, but like, were you guys reluctant at all to like drop that 40K for a machine? I mean, you knew about it, but was there any fear in, him leaving his full-time career that was stable? May not have liked it, kind of like me, right at the police department, like wasn't the coolest thing in the world, but like it was
There's money
also
coming in.
stable, a retirement, right? Like all that stuff and a steady paycheck. And then of course you're working as a CMO. So like, was there some fear in both you and your husband diving in and doing that? Or were you like, nah, we got it because I know the kind of the path forward here?
It was a combination. I didn't really have that fear, but I'm also a very different temperament than my husband.
Yeah.
He's like I said, he likes structure and consistency. And so like he was scared. He was
Right.
absolutely like, I
Yeah.
don't know if this is the right choice. I mean, we just
Yeah.
had a we just had a baby too. So it was like, are
Wow.
we really ready to do this? So I was confident he was not, but my confidence, I think, rubbed off on him, and
Yeah.
he's all in now. And I mean,
That's awesome.
anyone quitting their job is going to have a gut punch of like, oh my gosh, I'm actually
Yeah.
doing this, right?
Yeah.
But it's honestly, if it weren't for Paul and having his support and mentorship, I mean, he's been really the difference I think it made, and
Yeah.
it just really further solidifies the fact that I mean, you can go out and buy any kind of technology or any kind of a wall printer or whatever, but it's about the team that's behind
Yep. Yep.
the thing that you're buying that makes a
Yeah.
difference. Because
Yeah.
think about if you go buy a piece of software or something and you are just learning it and you're university of YouTube, and it's not, you've got a nuanced situation that needs a
Yeah.
custom person who is in it and can see it. You're not going to have that with a lot of companies, and it's
Yeah.
really rare to find someone that you can go online and get someone right away, or pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm struggling here, help me,
Right.
and so
Yeah.
that's where I think the difference in lies with the wall printer and really any other traditional startup is you don't have that support, right? Um,
Right. Yeah.
and that's where I think that it really differentiates the wall printer from a lot of other businesses like this is just it's a lot of claims.
Right.
We don't sell you something just to sell it to you, because if you're not successful, then we won't be. So there's
Right.
no value in it, in us, just selling you something for $40,000 and then you fail at it. And then,
Right.
you've got this, issue. It's not only are we trying to build up this industry and educate people that it's a viable thing that people can start offering the service, but also, it's just not our personality. It's not in our hearts to
Yeah.
intentionally mislead somebody. So
Sure.
the fact that it's something that, we have gone out of our way in capacities that we don't have to by any means. We could
Right.
just sell a printer and be done, right? We
Yep.
don't have
Yep.
to
Yep.
create the documentation. We don't have to have, you know, 7-day a week support offerings for, technical support. We don't have to have in-person training, but these are all things that we've done and formulated over the years of R&D, and just really making sure that this is an actual thing that we should be offering people. Because like I was saying before, with our marketing packages, we didn't want to offer them until we've tested them. And it's the
Right.
same thing with our support department or our printers. We're not going to put something out there that we aren't 100% confident behind,
Yeah.
and our track record shows that, and it's clear that that's our leverage, and why we are the industry leader. But there are some companies coming out kind of muddying the water and putting misinformation out there about, not necessarily about us, but just about the printing and the printer technology in itself, and it's setting
Mhm.
unrealistic unrealistic expectations of things that are like just the technology itself is not capable of. So
Right.
we like to, be very transparent, and we're not going to BS you to make a sale, because that's, like I said, that's just not,
Right.
it doesn't make any sense. So,
Yeah.
I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, no, you totally did. And I think it's super cool because you guys could technically be like, well, um, you know, if you want to call me because you're struggling, then that's going to be, $1,000 for my time or something, right? But you're backing the product, number one, and you're backing your customers who are investing $40,000, and you're not acting like a franchise, what Paul was saying, because again, a franchise is taking a percent of revenue, and I'm sure if you need anything, they're charging you, for that time and expertise and all that. So it just it's super cool to know that you guys are like a small, tight knit group that will support their customers, because bigger doesn't always mean better, and smaller also does not mean that you can't do the job, right? And I think you guys are definitely proving that. And then when you guys, let's say you get a customer, let's say it's a restaurant or a pizza place that wants something on their wall, like what's the setup like? You go out to the location. I mean, does it take a 2 days to get this done? Like, what's the setup and turnaround time like on this?
So it depends. So we actually just did a big restaurant, and that's kind of the beauty of this, is we can really pivot to wherever we need to. So,
That's cool.
um, we went in, and it was a local Thai restaurant, actually our favorite one. So it's kind of cool. Every time we go in, it's like our artworks everywhere. Uh, yeah. So, we went in there. They reached out to us from our Facebook ads, and
Cool.
set up a site survey where we go in and actually see the space. We see the walls. We see what the design is, and kind of formulate a game plan from there. And then from that, based on their design, or what their goals are, we give them options. So, for example, this company, they already had a design in mind. They had an artist actually from Thailand that they commissioned to create this
Wow.
beautiful artwork. It was like
Mhm.
262 square foot. And
Wow.
they were like, we don't know how to get this on here, but we want it on here. And it was edge to edge. So that's something that our printer doesn't do. It doesn't go edge to edge, just because of the nature of the machine. So
Mhm.
I was like, all right, here are your options. We can either modify the design and make it fit within our print space, or we can print it on a substrate and then install it. This way, it's a win-win for you. If you guys decide to move from this facility, you guys haven't lost that
Mm,
investment of your artwork, and you can take it with you. And they
right.
loved that idea. So my husband went and sourced, they're called ACM panels, and 10 foot by 5 foot panels, and we printed 8 of them. And so
Wow.
we did that in house with our floor printer, and they absolutely loved it. So much so they actually commissioned us to do another piece that was another
Sweet.
8 foot by 10 foot fish, actually.
No way.
Um,
Yeah. That's
yeah, it
awesome.
was really cool. So it just depends on the job. So that was an install job where we printed in our warehouse, and then we brought it to the location and installed it. Other
Yeah.
situations where there was a wine shop in Southport that wanted their logo across their wine racks in their open, like, eating space.
Uh-huh.
And so it was 13 foot, I think, long and 18 inches tall. So we were like, okay. So my husband, it's easier with two people, but you can do it with one. But he brought the printer down there with the tracks and set it up, and then just ran the printer along the wall. You do your measurements, make sure that it's centered and
Yeah.
everything where
Yeah.
you want it, and then it just prints directly on the wall.
That's so
So
cool.
we did it on the inside. We did one on the outside, actually, and between these two windows. And then they actually had a sign that they were wanting to replace, that the original owners had, and they're like, we want to keep the frame of it, but we want, obviously, our new branding. So we actually printed on 2 panels of ACM, and then they installed it. And so it was
That's
a
awesome.
cost effective situation for him, because they were actually one of our first clients. So we gave them a really great deal, and they referred us like all over the place. So
That's
it
awesome.
was, yeah, it was, like I said, it just depends on the job, and it depends on the setup and the design. So it's
Right.
kind of fluid in that capacity. And that's, I think, one of the reasons I like it so much, is because it's not the same thing every day. It's not,
Yeah.
we have a guy that wants us to do a giant Jaws poster on his wall.
Oh,
We're
no way.
like,
That's cool.
"Okay."
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so just random stuff like that, it's like, who would have thought? So yeah.
Yeah. That's so cool. Yeah. And it's crazy to think too, right? That And I was talking to Paul about this too. Like, businesses don't necessarily have to go out and spend 5K on like a sign that's lit up in front of their business. Like, they could just do a wall print, right? Or eat, like Paul was saying, like store hours on a or on like a window or something, and things
Yeah.
like that. I mean, that is, and it's, yes, it costs money, but I think it's not as much, and then it can be done fairly quickly. Like, you get a sign made for a business that could take months, you know?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's super awesome. Well, cool. Well, yeah, I mean, it's funny because I never thought I'd have this type of business on the podcast talking about wall printing, like it's so crazy.
Yeah.
And how
Well, you're a what is it? What do they call it? A industry or a what's the word? Where you're the first in a community to do something.
well, yeah,
I can't remember
I
the
don't know.
name.
Yeah, yeah,
Please edit that out.
yeah, that no, 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 that's fine. You know what? It's funny because I was just gonna say, like, man, I'd almost be interested because I live in Southern California outside of Los Angeles, and as you're talking about the type of business stuff, I'm like, man, I could like kill it over here with one of these wall printers, and it's pretty amazing that you guys are doing this. Well, Ashley, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. I want to respect your time and not go too long. But thank you for sharing everything. Anything else you want to add of value? Please do.
Um, I think, marketing is something that I think a lot of people um go into thinking that anyone could do it. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
absolutely true. Definitely a learned skill, but it's something that if you do if you don't do it right, it can make or break a business. And
correct. Yep,
I think that so many people underestimate the power of a good marketing campaign or even just consistency in your marketing. And I think that, if I can leave anyone with some, my 2 cents is that, if you don't have a budget for a sponsored campaign, you're not dead in the water. If you just go in and learn, I mean, we have every resource at our fingertips right now. And like I said
yep.
earlier, University of YouTube, you can go on and
Yes.
learn any of these platforms from the back end. And it will take time, but the value that you gain from it is, I mean, is just incredible because you can really take that and leverage it in a organic capacity. So you're not
Yeah.
spending money, you're only spending your time. So I would say, if you don't have that kind of, if you don't have an ad budget, you can still do marketing effectively if you just take, some time, an hour a week or something, and just learn the nuances of the industry. And don't underestimate it because, like I said, it can really make or break a business. And if especially if you have a new business and you don't market it, it's not Field of Dreams. If you build it, they won't come. You have to tell
Yep.
them to
Yep.
come.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's just yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah. No, and I appreciate that because there's a big disconnect, I think, with it's like, hey, um, how can I explain this? Like, I build a website, like, people think just by building it they're going to get traffic, right? Like,
Yeah,
that's not how it works. That's where marketing comes in, and sending the not only traffic but the correct person to your website the first
yeah,
time, monitoring that customer journey. It's not going to happen overnight, but like you said, it takes a person 5, 6, 7, 8 times to see something before they actually take action, and that's the beauty of social media. So I think the whole point of this, especially this episode, is number one, learning about a cool new product like the wall printer and a new business venture that could possibly be undertaken by somebody with this, and the support structure you guys have in place. And I don't think any of this would be possible without um, social media and doing it properly, right? Not just you
yeah.
know, hiring some kid out of college that like, can do your marketing for you. Like it's hard. It's not easy. And if it's done right, it can really be powerful for your business. So, um, yeah. Well, again, Ashley, if someone wants to get a hold of you, either to chat about marketing or to talk about the wall printer, where can they reach out to you?
So you can go to our website, thewellprinter.com, or if you're in the Wilmington or coastal Carolina area, you could reach out to Wilmington Wall Printing at wilmingtonwallprinting.com. And if, you're interested in starting your own wall printing business, that would be the first step, is to go to the website, educate yourself a little bit on the tech and really what it takes to be a successful wall printer. And if you think that you're that kind of person and you've got the drive to make something successful, this is a great tech, and it's the startup cost is bananas how low it is.
Yeah, for
So
sure. Yeah. And a normal franchise for like McDonald's, for example, you got to have a lot of money in the bank in order to even
yeah,
sign the application, So yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, again, thank you. And it's been great. Keep up the good work, not only in the wall printer, but in your own business. Um, please thank your husband for all his service as well. Respect him for
Will
doing
do.
that, and yourself. And yeah, thank you so much, Ashlee. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. We'll see you again next time. Be sure to subscribe to get future episodes.